The 3 women that were held captive in Cleveland, Ohio for nearly a decade have released a video explaining how much they've progressed ever since they've been released. Amanda Berry, Gina DeJesus, and Michelle Knight are featured in this next video. They released it on YouTube, and it was about 3 minutes and 30 seconds. If you guys want to check it out, do so. But we have a little snippet for you guys, so let's take a look.
Thank you for the support. I want everyone to know how happy I am to be home with my family and my friends. It's been unbelievable. I want to thank everyone who has helped me and my family through this entire ordeal.
I may have been through hell and back, but I am strong enough to walk through hell with a smile on my face and with my head held high.
So, bless their hearts, man. You know, I'd have vengeance on my mind, right? Mm-hmm. And, well, you don't know what you do because you weren't in that position. They were in a terrible, terrible position for 10 long years. You know, they never made it out of the house until that day that Barry broke out, right?
Yeah.
10 years, never outside the house. One brief time they go to the garage and they're made to wear disguises, etc. And of course, as we now know, Michelle Knight had been starved when she was pregnant and then
beaten so she would have a miscarriage.
Repeatedly punched in the stomach so she would have a miscarriage.
Amanda Berry has a 6-year-old child as a result of getting raped by Ariel Castro. He was the 52-year-old who held them captive for nearly a decade. And I mean, you know, that by itself, I mean, how do you deal with that? Knowing that you're forced to have a child by someone who captured you, continuously raped you, beat you. You're watching all of these horrific things happening to other women that are in that house with you. I mean, it's amazing to me that they can release a video like that with such an optimistic outlook, because I feel the exact same way as Cenk. I feel like I would just want vengeance. I would want to go after him. I would want to see him tortured. I would want to have like Theon Greyjoy action on that guy, right? Yeah. Let's like tie him up and like rip off his fingernails one by one and then chop off his penis.
Okay, all right, well, you got very specific. Okay, could you imagine that's the video they do? They're like, okay, and we'd like to thank the community. By the way, they raised $1 million to help these women, which is great.
Yeah, it's
remember,
incredible.
10 years of their life is robbed. How are you going to start a career, etc.? And God, the guy who rescued them,
Charles Ramsey.
They were going to give him reward money. He said, no, give it to the girls.
What an amazing guy.
What a great guy. And then remember, some douchebags started criticizing Ramsey. I'm like, but people just want to find things to criticize. That's crazy.
Absolutely. They started looking into his like criminal history or criminal background. It's like, leave the guy alone. He did something amazing and he doesn't want a reward for it at all.
Yeah, I think it was like Fox News or something. They were like, I don't know about this guy. Oh, please. Anyway, so now look, this tape was a little rehearsed, and so there's 2 interesting parts of it. They're skipping all the media tours, and they're just releasing it on YouTube, which Good Morning America and Today Show, et cetera, have to be livid about. Mm-hmm. But it's good because since they raised $1 million, they don't have to go and sell a book and worry about all that stuff and do the media tour and have to deal with Diane Sawyer saying, so how was it inside that basement? Right? Like, okay, all right. So they just read a statement. You know, did PR folks probably help them with that statement a little bit? Sure. Do they know that people are more likely to be helpful if they are, deal with it in grace? Probably. But it doesn't matter. They're not going to deal with it with grace if they don't want to, right? And they're not going to say things they don't want to in that statement. So the bottom line is, obviously they feel that way to a very significant extent. And that makes them better people than I am, because I would want, retribution.
Also, since we haven't been put in their shoes, we probably don't understand the fact that a lot of times people who go through these traumatic situations behave in that way with an optimistic outlook because it's a survival mechanism. Mm-hmm. So I think about, a good friend of mine who got diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer at the age of 30. And the chances of her surviving were slim. She did survive, thankfully. And I thought of myself in that situation. I told her, I was like, if I were in your shoes, I would lay under the covers all day long and I would feel sorry for myself and I wouldn't want to even think about it. And she told me, you know what? It was my survival mechanism. Just having a little glimmer of hope and trying to look at the positives and fighting. That's the way I survived. And that's probably what's going through the minds of these women.